And we're now getting some breaking news from down south. Big Karthigai Deepam war erupts in Tamil Nadu. Protesters try to climb the Madurai Hill Shrine, but they try to light the Deepam on the lamppost, but cops stop the pro-Deepam protesters, and the protesters have claimed that they are being stopped despite the HC nod. Remember, the Madurai HC had given a nod to light the Deepam at this Madurai shrine, but despite the nod, the devotees are not being allowed to light the Deepam, and these protesters were stopped by the cops despite the HC nod, and flag hoisting has been allowed in Sikandar Dargah, which is nearby this holy shrine. So what is important to note that first, the pro-Deepam protesters were stopped by the cops, and secondly, the flag hoisting was allowed at the Sikandar Dargah, which is nearby this Madurai hilltop shrine. So the Deepam was not allowed to be lit despite the High Court's nod, but on the other hand, a flag hoisting was allowed at the Sikandar Dargah, which is nearby the Madurai Shrine. And my colleague Pramod Madhav is now joining us with more details on this. Pramod, the larger question still remains that why is the Deepam not being allowed to lit despite the Madurai High Court's nod?
One main aspect here is that where the petitioner is asking for lighting of Deepam is an area where the Deepam has not been lit for more than 100 years, and there is a secondary hill where the Deepam is being continuously lit. That is actually near the Uchipalaya temple, which is called as the pillar for lighting the Karthigai Deepam. But this particular incident is something called as Sandhana Kootu, which is also a traditional event that occurs across various dargahs in the state of Tamil Nadu. And yesterday in Sikandar Dargah, it was initiated using a flagpole, which will be taken from the ground level to the hill by a couple of people. And here the police allowed it because it is also a traditional one, post which the flag will be raised in the tree called as the Kalati Hill, which is also close by to the Dargah as well. This is where certain protesters came forward and said that if that is being allowed, they should also be allowed, and they carried lamps in their hand. They're trying to attempt to remove the barricades and climb up the hill, but that was immediately stopped by the police over there, Anjali.
All right, Pramod, do stay with us. So that is what is happening at the Madurai hilltop, where there's a holy shrine and a dargah in close proximity. So on one hand, the protesters were not allowed to light the Deepam. And remember, it is important to note that the Madurai High Court has given a nod to light this Deepam at the hilltop, but still devotees are not being allowed to do so. The DMK government has also challenged this order. And on the other hand, there's this dargah, which is in close proximity to this shrine. There, the flag hoisting was allowed, as you can see in these visuals, the two visuals, from one from the dargah where the flag hoisting was allowed, and one from the holy shrine where the protesters were not allowed to light the Deepam.